Hello everyone, I'm George from Ireland. Welcome back to my channel. And this is commenting on His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, Knight of the Garter. And he had lots of other honours, patron of many charities, most of them stripped from him in 2019 after his cataclysmic BBC interview with Emily Maitlis. By the way, she's skeletal. I've seen her up close. There we go, woman in the media. But back to Prince Andrew, His Grace, which we should address him as he's a prince, and a lot of his nefarious activities have come to light. There are all these murky findings. I await with bated breath the tome by Andrew Lowney, Dr. Lowney, perhaps the foremost author of unauthorized biographies of members of the House of Windsor. Um, and he's been working on this one on Prince Andrew for about 5 years now, because no full-scale biography of His Royal Highness has ever been published. And this will be the last nail in Prince Andrew's reputational coffin. But I'd known as far back as 1996, because I knew someone who worked for the Prince of Wales, that Prince Andrew is known as Randy Andy. He was notoriously libidinous. Now, being a priapic prince, well, that's not unprecedented, and really wouldn't mind what he gets up to. But we're seeing now what an impact it has on national security. As for being friends with H6, who is now been named, that Chinese businessman, got to say that wiser heads made the same mistake. He met David Cameron, Theresa May, although it somewhat depends on what point did MI5 and or MI6 suspect that this chap was a spy. So we can't blame Prince Andrew entirely. Other people screwed up. But maybe there were warnings to Prince Andrew that he didn't heed. I don't know, because can the government actually prevent him? Now, the monarch acts on ministerial advice. Do princes and princesses always act on ministerial advice? I'm not so sure, but he's one for disregarding unwelcome advice. His own worst enemy, an absolute imbecile, just didn't realize how bad it is. Who just never ever learns his lesson. The thing about recruitable vulnerabilities, if you're China, Russia, Kazakhstan, one of the Gulf Arab states, you want an agent of influence, someone within the British establishment to persuade the British government to do this and not to do that, or indeed just to tell you things. Now, there's a lot of espionage is technological, as hacking into computer systems and so on, or indeed to satellite systems, or having your hacking into CCTV face recognition technology, directional microphones, which apparently can pick up what people are saying from hundreds of meters away in the best case. But some of it is human intelligence they can only get from someone being physically present. If they don't have any microphones near there, if things are not recorded, they're not on any computer or anything like that. So someone like Prince Andrew, who's there, who's hearing saying things, and you're doing this wittingly or unwittingly, whether his mate said, "Come on, as a friend, could you just tell me what was said, or would you mind telling them this?" Um, how would you get them on their side? They always say, well, the Americans certainly say this, is MICE, how to recruit an agent inside a target organization. The acronym MICE: money, ideology, compromise, ego. Well, money, that's blatant. We know that he's certainly got a taste for the high life, getting millions of pounds a year. Think about how he sold Sunning Hill Park, his house in Berkshire, in 2007, and it was meant to be sold for $15.7 million. I do mean dollars. Sold for $19.7 million in the end to Timur Kulibayev, the son-in-law of President Nursultan Nazarbayev of Kazakhstan. So an extra $4 million, let's say £3 million in the values of the time, £4 million in the values of today, quite easily an additional £4 million over the asking price, and there were no other bidders. That's staggering. It's impossible to imagine that there wasn't some quid pro quo. What was Kulibayev getting in return? We don't know. So there's a sense of entitlement, that he's above the law, that he can do anything. And the quondam king of Spain, Juan Carlos, was at the same. Laws don't apply to me. The king can do no wrong. Voluntas rex lex suprema est. Okay, Prince Andrew is not actually a king. Voluntas princeps, perhaps, and so on. Having accounts and false names. If they don't get the money directly to him, give it to one of his lackeys, which is passed on, an account held in somebody else's name. The Ruskies are all into this kind of stuff. But money, ideology, well, Prince Andrew's too much of a dimwit. He doesn't have an ideology, whether it's a Shariat state, whether it's a post-Soviet dictatorship like Kazakhstan, he'd be fine with that. He doesn't know, doesn't care. But he's got a weakness for dictatorships because there's no pesky free media. There are no courts, there's no accountability. And people like him, whether you're born into it or you get there by brute force, nevertheless, you can do what you want. Taxes, laws, those are for the little people, not people like him. He thinks he's heaven born, seems to believe in the divine right of kings. Thank God he's not the eldest son. Obviously, for anti-monarchists, he's the gift that keeps on giving. So ideology. Funnily enough, he never has these entanglements with free countries, with France or the United States or Germany or Canada or Australia. It's only with authoritarian regimes. And coming on to compromise, really that's blackmail. And we all know that he's got an extraordinarily high sex drive. Obviously, adultery by his wife, Sarah Ferguson, and him at the same time. And subsequently, often in Hello magazine, the paparazzi see him sunning himself in a yacht with some topless babes. Okay, no moralistic objection to that. But he would stay in these presidential suites in five-star hotels in Kazakhstan. And so former Soviet countries, they just love to have the hidden cameras filming people's sexual shenanigans. Did he pick up young women in nightclubs? Were they pushed his way by Kazakh intelligence? I don't know. Were they hookers? I don't know. I'm not absolutely sure. He may never have copulated in Kazakhstan. This is conjecture, but he's just the sort of person to fall right into that trap. I don't know if he's briefed by the British Embassy, by MI6 and so on. Please don't do this. You'll be a lamb to the slaughter. And then the Kazakhs would have a videotape, whatever he's getting up, saying, you got to behave with us, or you got to give us what we want, or we'll go public. Now, Prince Andrew might defy them and said, do your worst, I don't care. I'm not so sure. Even he might blanch that one. Somewhat might depend what activities he's into. If it's fairly vanilla, he might find that unembarrassing. And the last one, E, is ego. Well, he is a man of raging vanity, very, very very easy to stroke his ego. So is easy to manipulate. So you just praise him effusively. You put on this obtrusive display of deference to him because of his princely status and so forth. It's very, very easy to butter him up. So they could just play Prince Andrew like a fiddle. Now, I don't know they've done it, but I speculate that they do. You'd be an imbecile not to try if you were them. It'd be very, very easy to do. Now, you wouldn't be able to get away with this with Princess Anne, for example, who's much more dutiful and circumspect. Even Prince Edward, King Charles, the former Prince of Wales, possibly, I think, to a lesser extent. But he does have a long-term love interest, Camilla Parker Bowles. So I didn't think there would be any sexual hanky-panky. But that is Prince Andrew. Maybe it will all come out in the wash. It just keeps getting worse. Staggering how he's got away with this. So a guy who got millions from the public purse every year when he's a working royal, and then got millions more from commissions, these shady deals, going around as the world as a roving ambassador for British trade, but able to cut side deals and exploiting his royal status for personal gain. The millions he got from the taxpayer every year were not enough. In fairness, his share of the civil list, as was then called, is now the sovereign grant, was in lieu of the crown estate, which the royal family gave to the exchequer about 1760 under George III. Well, thank you for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate to PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Goodbye.